Hey everybody, this is Darren Sabedra again with the Mercury News, East Bay Times, Bay Area News Group, here with Mike Lefkow. Mike, it's Saturday. We're wrapping up week 9 of the high school football season, and there was a game that I was at that neither of us saw coming. Valley Christian, which last week lost to St. Francis 7-3. It's going up against the high-powered Serra Padres on their home field last night, and Valley took care of business. Made a statement. Valley wins 37-6. So that means in its 3 biggest games this season, against Wilcox, St. Francis, and Serra, Valley has allowed 10 points to Wilcox, 7 points to St. Francis, and 6 to Serra. That's pretty good.
That's 1 touchdown a game. Can't do much better than that.
Right.
No, that got a little bit of the wow factor. I was at the game.
A little bit.
I was at, and I saw
wow
that
factor.
score. I said, "Whoa,
right.
That's a little bit of a surprise there."
And it was domination throughout. It was 10-0 after the first quarter, 20-0 after the at halftime. When Serra finally did score a touchdown on the very next snap, Devon Lang goes 80 yards for a touchdown, one of his 3 TDs on the night. Very impressive performance by the Warriors, coming off a tough loss to St. Francis.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what goes on with teams at times. I mean, you think after the loss to St. Francis that, Valley is capable of beating Serra, but it would be a close, tough game. And then they come out and play a great game, and I'm sure Patrick Walsh would have told you that Serra played its worst game of the season. So
credited Valley. So we got our butts kicked. Valley's defense put pressure on Luke Patari, controlled the line of scrimmage, and let its athletes in the secondary do their thing, and they were able to hold Serra's receivers down. I mean, Serra had a couple of nice plays, but Valley, 95% of the time was just in complete control.
I mean, you don't know why a game like that ends up being 37-6. I mean, sometimes you can look at a game, you think a game's going to be close, and it turns into a one-sided affair, and you kind of know the reasons. You don't always state them on here, but you kind of know the reasons.
Right.
This is one, to be honest, this is kind of baffling to me. I just can't state a reason why it would have been 37-6.
Right. Now Valley has to keep the momentum going. Now they're in position, if Serra were to beat St. Francis at the end of the season, a 3-way tie for first place in the WCAL. I mean, St. Francis obviously is in control of its own destiny. If it wins out, it wins the league. But Valley has to worry about next week's game, and we'll talk about this more in the preview. But they go to Mitty. Usually that's a game at Foothill College in Los Altos Hills. Mitty's home field for its night games. They get 1 night game at home a year, and they already played it against Bellarmine. Well, they're going to play a 3:30 in the afternoon game on a Friday against Valley Christian at Mitty. So that's something to keep an eye on, because Mitty always plays Valley Christian tough. You were at Monte Vista last night, and Monte Vista, they're a good team.
Yes, they are.
They are a good team, and they took care of business against Granada, winning, 27-7?
27-7. They fell behind 7-0 in the first quarter. Granada came out and looked pretty good initially.
Yeah.
They had a good game plan. They took charge of the line of scrimmage. They were moving the ball. They pulled off a fake punt that went for, I think, might have been for 34 yards. So they were doing a lot of good things. But then the momentum switched in the second quarter, and Monte Vista took control. And you could just see they're a better team. And, that's why they're in the upper division of the East Bay Athletic League.
Right, and an 8-2, if Monte Vista beats San Ramon Valley, and who else do they have left? One other game.
Yeah, they have Livermore, I think.
Well, anyhow, if they go 8-2, I got to think they're going to...
Oh, no, they have Foothill, excuse me.
If they go 8-2, I got to think they're going to be a 1 or 2 seed in Division 1. I mean, am I missing something? I mean... let's just assume Pitt, Clayton, Liberty, and De La Salle are the 4 teams in the Open. Then who are the 1 and 2 seeds in Division One?
Well, that becomes real interesting. I mean, I think you can make a great argument for Monte Vista being the number 1 seed in Division One, because I think it comes down to 3 teams: Monte Vista, Freedom, and Antioch. If those other 4 do make the Open Division, and right now, what does Freedom have? 2 losses,
Including the Cal, which Monte Vista beat.
Right, and Antioch has 2 losses to Freedom and Liberty.
Right.
If
And they're
Antioch,
probably going to have a 3rd loss to Pitt.
Right.
If they win that game, then they're in the Open conversation.
right, but I mean the thing is, if Antioch does lose to Pitt, that will be their 3rd loss, and they will be in there. And then Freedom has the 2 losses, but I think their toughest part of their schedule is over. I don't think they have any of the. They've played Liberty, they've played Pittsburgh, and I think they've played all 3. So, I think it probably would come down to Freedom and Monte Vista, and Freedom lost to California, and Monte Vista beat California.
Right.
So I think Monte Vista's got a great shot at being the number 1 seed in Division One.
Speaking of California, they had a huge win last night over San Ramon Valley, a dramatic win. Our Curtis Pachelko is out there. You can read all about the game in his story, which is on eastbaytimes.com and mercurynews.com. Big win for Cal last night.
Yeah, that was an important win for Cal. I mean, both Cal and San Ramon badly needed to win last night. One of the problems is they both have losses already, and they both have to play De La Salle. So they're behind the 8 ball in terms of where they would be seated against Monte Vista. I mean, Monte Vista's in control. If Monte Vista wins out, Monte Vista should be no worse than the number 2 seed in Division One.
Right.
They could be the number 1 seed, and if everything fell right, they could sneak into that Open, although I don't know if they'd want to play De La Salle again.
Right. So good win for Cal. Over in the peninsula, Sacred Heart Prep, team that I put on upset alert in the newsletter, which, sign up for that newsletter. It's free and a lot of good content, I think. But anyhow, Sacred Heart Prep went to Half Moon Bay and really, really put a whooping on Half Moon Bay, which obviously has fallen on hard times after last year's magical season. Sacred Heart Prep remains undefeated, and they've got a big game next Saturday at home in the afternoon against Menlo Atherton, which will probably be for that division championship.
Yeah, Sacred Heart they're not a bad team this year, and I was kind of surprised by
Mark
that.
Grebe, the former SaberCats quarterback,
right?
Oak Grove alum, I believe.
And that 35-6 game was pretty convincing.
Right.
I thought Half Moon Bay would make it a little bit closer. I thought Sacred Heart Prep would win, but I thought it would be a little bit closer.
Right. So big win for Sacred Heart Prep. We'll talk more about their game against MA in the preview, but that'll be a big game and something we will be keeping an eye on when we do our video next Saturday, because that's the Saturday afternoon game.
Yes. We'll be doing the video probably during the game.
Right. One team that had set its sights on winning a CCS championship 20 years after their only other CCS championship saw its perfect season come to an end last night with a stunning loss to Del Mar, and that being Overfelt. Overfelt fell to a Del Mar team that last week, this is how the high school football works. Last week, Del Mar lost to Gunderson. The previous week, Overfelt beat Gunderson 50-0, and last night, Del Mar beat Overfelt. I mean, 50-0.
Well, I think what happens at times is it just snowballs on you. Like when I was covering the Liberty Antioch game last week, and Liberty beat them 55-0 or whatever it was. I mean, I think that Liberty, just things snowballed on Antioch. Mm-hmm. And I think that happens at times. You just kind of see kids, they're upset, things aren't going well, the coaches try to encourage them, but sometimes it just doesn't work, and that could have very well. I mean, again, That's why one of the things I like to do is if I see a team that's 9-0 or 10-0,
Right.
I don't always look at, gee, how tough is their schedule? I mean, if they're 9-0 or 10-0, I'm tempted to give them a vote in the poll just because they did not have a week where they got caught and lost a game they shouldn't have lost. And that's easier said. I mean, that's not that easy to go undefeated, no matter what your schedule is like.
Right.
And, hey, you know, sometimes you just have a bad week. Maybe you get one or two of the players is sick. There's some personal problems. You never know.
And now Overfeld's going to probably have to fight to get into the CCS playoffs because they still have a game against Independence, and they're now in a three-way tie for second place with Del Mar and Willow Glen in the Santa Teresa division, which I believe gets one automatic bid, I think.
Yeah, but if they go 8-2 or 9-1, they wouldn't get in the playoffs.
They might have enough points. It's all based on points.
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
And they don't get as many points in those B divisions, but they are playing in one of the lower divisions anyway. So, you know, I would think they're going to get in, but, you know, a win last night would have definitely put them in a really, really good spot. So.
And that was a 2-touchdown difference, right?
Del Mar and
I think it was 33 to 20 or something.
Yes, yes. So, what else do we have to add here? Saturday afternoon in Dublin.
I don't know. Pinole Valley won again. They're 8-0.
Sacred Heart Cathedral, 1 week after its big Bruce Mahoney game win over St. Ignatius, went down to San Jose City College, and we had alluded to this in the newsletter that they were going to be going for their first win over Bellarmine in the Max Preps era, 2004 forward, and they got it. They shut out the Bells 14-0. Vitas Masica talked to the Sacred Heart Cathedral coach earlier today, and he told him that this was the Irish's first win over Bellarmine since 1997.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Hey, how about Oak Grove?
Oak Grove,
we kind of forgot about them, but all of a sudden they're 4-0.
Yeah, they're 4-0 in league. I talked to Marcus Reese today. He says that they still have a lot of work to do. They're making a lot of penalties. They were trailing 13-6 at halftime. And then I'm guessing paint came off the walls because they outscored Pioneer 27-0 in the third quarter.
Wow.
So they got their act together and got a big win. They're 4-0. They'll be playing Leland on Friday, and then they have a big game the following week at home against Lincoln, which also is undefeated in the Mount Hamilton division of the Blossom Valley Athletic League.
You know, another team to keep an eye on is Benicia High School.
You read about them today.
Yeah, they beat Concord last night 42-20. That game was tied 14-14 going into the fourth quarter. The thing is Benicia is 4-0 in the Diablo Athletic League. They're in the lower division, but they host Las Lomas next Friday night.
They can still. It's Las Lomas' last game of the regular season.
Right, and Las Lomas has been rolling over everyone. This might be a challenge. It might not.
We wrote all about Las Lomas this week in EastBayTimes.com and MercuryNews.com.
Right. But, you know, just the fact that Benicia's been quiet, 6-2, 4-0 in league, and now they get a chance to prove themselves next week.
Right. Wilcox got a big win last night, beat Homestead 42-7, and Gabe Herrera had 4 touchdowns for Wilcox, 198 yards rushing, and Paul M. Rosa had 136 yards, I believe, and a touchdown. They got a big game next week against Milpitas, which, if Wilcox wins, they'll pretty much wrap up the outright championship. If they do not win, we're probably looking at a 3-way tie with Wilcox, Palo Alto, and Milpitas for that division championship.
You know what I was trying to do this morning? I was trying to analyze where Camp Linda will fit into the Division II playoffs. If they win out, which is a pretty good chance, it'd probably be the number 2 seed, I would think. They lost to Rancho Cotati. Rancho will get the number 1 seed. Campo would be number 2. There are teams that could challenge.
Are they looking at a semifinal game against O'Dowd?
That would be a possibility, yeah. It's a little, a little tricky to see where teams would fall after the top 2, but and you also don't know how many teams will go into that bracket.
Right.
But I think Campo's got a real good chance. And then one more shout out to Amador Valley's Dominic Mazzotti. Scored 5 touchdowns, threw a touchdown pass. He had 173 yards rushing on his 5 touchdowns.
Wow.
I haven't seen what his total was. Good chance he went over 200.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
We are closing in on playoff time.
Yeah.
Very, very close, couple weeks away. So, big week next week. The Bay Valley Athletic League was off this week, and they got a slightly big game coming up next week.
Liberty and Pitt?
Yes.
That should be a good one.
So read all about it. We're obviously going to write about that game going in, and we'll be there on Friday night. So I think that's it from my end here in our beautiful Dublin boardroom.
Yep. It's peaceful down here, though.
It is. So anyhow, thanks for watching, and check out our coverage at mercurynews.com, eastbaytimes.com. Please sign up for that newsletter. It's free. We're hearing a lot of good things from outside our offices about it. So sign up. We think you will enjoy it. So anyhow, until next time.